Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously has some very serious problems. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about, because they're going to talk about the Epstein, whatever.
I mean, I've talked about the 7 wars. Most of them are made up. But anyway, so that's Donald Trump over the course of the past couple of months. And I just wanted to remind everyone in the MAGA movement that while you have, in some cases, pretended to care about the Epstein thing, and some of you actually have, Donald Trump has been very clear from the beginning, you're a big dummy for caring about that. It's boring, move on. Who cares about these boring elite sex crimes? Who cares about these boring millionaires trafficking young kids? It bores me. It's sordid but boring, which feel like antonyms, so I'm confused about that part. But what's interesting is that some people might have thought that that was just like a social media strategy or a PR strategy of Donald Trump. That now that everybody's so focused on it, when he's asked on camera, he's just trying to dissuade people from caring about it. What's interesting is that according to reports, behind the scenes, when he has every expectation of privacy, he's saying the exact same thing. And that I think actually matters in ways that I will explain. He apparently told aides in a new report, the Wall Street Journal, that he couldn't understand. This is when he was before he was first arrested or whatever. He couldn't understand why people were so obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein. People don't understand, he said, that Palm Beach in the 90s was a different time. That barely anybody's gonna talk about this. Wall Street Journal reported it, great job, Wall Street Journal, everybody's gonna move on. But MAGA movement, I am begging you, do you know what he's saying in that statement? Why do people care about this? It was the 90s, it was Palm Beach. If you wanted to sexually assault a kid, it was a different time. What do you guys not get about that? We weren't all woke back then. If we wanted to sexually assault a kid, we just did it. You guys don't understand that, man. You guys don't even get what it is to be a billionaire. You don't even understand. What was the point of making all this money if we couldn't traffic people? If we couldn't sell kids like personal sex slaves back and forth between different billionaires, and then we party a little bit at a Playboy party and we drink, and then we send a weird, creepy poem to each other. It was a different time. And by the way, I agree with him. Evidently, it was very much a different time, and I really hope that it's not that way anymore. But he doesn't think it was a bad thing. He thinks it was just a different time. Honestly, if we were in a universe where anything made sense, where there was any justice, any karma, that should be it. Now, I understand he didn't say it on tape or whatever, but these are multiple sources from within his inner circle saying that this is how he has talked about it. The MAGA movement should 100% be done with him, because it is not just that he is now covering up for Jeffrey Epstein, or that he's covering up for his other friends, even though that is objectively what he's doing. He never thought that it should have been a legal matter at all. You guys have been talking about QAnon and the storm being coming for years, and he has occasionally played you with that, putting like your Q memes on. He never meant any of it. He never cared about any of the elite sex trafficking, any of that predator stuff. He wishes they were still in that time, man. And you guys have been played worse than anyone else. You've been played objectively 100 times worse than anyone who watched that stupid Rapture YouTube video and then sold your car or whatever. You have been played worse than anyone in American history. Anyway, on the second day of a conference in Tampa, they got together to talk about this. He called influential allies. Why is everyone so fixated on the issue? We want to know what would make it die down. White House officials said they underestimated how sticky the issue would prove to be, believing it would blow over and people would move on. Instead, it spurred White House Situation Room meetings and months of strategizing by senior administration officials. And interestingly, it apparently never came up. What if we actually release the files? You know what might make it eventually die down? Justice, transparency, honesty, maybe standing with the survivors. Nope, those were non-starters. How do we distract from this so that we can move on? We do not want anyone else to get in legal trouble for this. That was always the goal. And the fact that Donald Trump is now evaluated, and I'll end on this, by the Republican voters as better handling the Epstein issue than he was when Pam Bondi came out and said, we're done with this thing. That, again, like they got played worse than any other movement in American history. And they are the biggest hypocrites in American history. There has never been a movement that purported to care more about an issue, about a group of people. And then when the chips were down, they decided to go with their carnival barker snake oil salesman rather than the kids that they pretended to care about. And not to say that there's not anybody who is mad at Trump or whatever. I think that there are a few, but for the most part, when it came down to it, they were like, I prefer Donald Trump. I prefer my red hat. Screw all that Q stuff. I never really meant it.